Is there audio now? Checking, checking, checking. Excellent. I had the wrong microphone unmuted, so that's great news. Right, okay. Let's try this again. I'm Alex Tremaine. I'm here to build Gunpla. Today is going to be a bit of an abbreviated stream. Going to do some panel lining on a Gunpla I've already finished, which is this unicorn here. The idea of this evening is to make sure that everything that I'm doing can be seen by you. So that when start an actual build, there won't be any problems with people seeing what's going on. Let's get to it. In which case, so this is a Unicorn Gundam, which I have. It was the first Gunpla I built. I've only just started building Gunpla. This is a real grade model. It came with the full armor kit for this particular model. This was the first one I built, as I said. Built this just after Christmas, and now I'm in the process of going through and panel lining. I started with the head. Let's get this. This will make it easier. So, let's move around a bit. Come on, it'll focus eventually. Well, that's fairly annoying. Started with the head. As you can see, this has various lining on the panels themselves. The panels don't come with. They're just plain. Obviously, they're indented, and the idea is that you can highlight the panels by adding black or grey in some cases to the areas where the panels are sunk. This seemed to focus better when it had more to focus on, so let's try this again. Yes, look at that. So as you can see on the head, there are, if I am very, very careful with this, you can see that these sunken bits here have been lined. That's an indent in the plastic, and the idea is that I need to go round and do that to all of the rest of this in order to make it really pop. I've not done panel lining before, except for the head that is already the head that you can see here. So I'm going to take that back off and put that over here, and going to separate this into the various constituent parts. So the shoulder units come off separately. The arms, I'm trying to remember how the arms come off exactly. It's been a while since I put this one together. The arms are actually connected underneath there, so we may have to do the arms in situ to a degree, but what we can do is we can lift up the The arms, at least we can straighten those out to get access to them. The sort of skirt, if you like, here lifts up, and the legs will come just straight off out of out of there while I throw the model on the floor. So there we go. That separates it into broadly constituent pieces. What we are also going to do is separate off is that? Oh, that's better. I'm going to separate off these parts of the skirt because it will just make it easier to line those as well. I'll try and keep this where you can see it. So these parts just come away. They are all, I don't know if it's going to be willing to focus. Oh, look at that. They are all on little ball joints, and they will pop straight back on afterwards. But it'll just make it much easier for lining if things are as separated into parts as possible. So I don't think there's anywhere good or bad to start here. I guess if we start with some small pieces that are easy to get at and don't have a great deal that need doing on them. As you can see, there's a lot of articulation on this particular model. Various parts extend to show some green translucent plastic underneath. In some cases, it's a little bit more dramatic than others. So if I remember how this works, there we go. So for example, that leg extends a little bit there. So it has a slightly different form that you can transform it into with all the various green parts exposed. But I think, and we'll probably have to do that for a lot of these pieces, but hopefully some of these small items we can do in situ. So this is possibly going to be a little on the awkward side, and I think for future streams I might make this face camera just a little bit larger so that when I'm doing up close work people can see, but for the purposes of this we'll leave it as it is. So I don't know how well this will show, but as you can see there's quite a few sort of sunken details on this particular piece, as there are on most of these pieces, and they need to be highlighted. There are several ways of doing this. I'm currently using a Gundam marker fine liner, GM01 I think it is. This is the black one. I've seen recommendations that on white it's recommended to use grey, but black is what I was able to get hold of before I saw that recommendation, and it seems to have come out. It seems to have come out pretty well. It seems to have come out pretty well as far as it goes on the head. So we'll continue as this stands. I'm not too worried about sort of damaging this particular, or damaging, it's not going to get damaged, but I'm not super worried about this one looking a little bit messy as practice, because one of the builds that I have available, going once sort of after this has been tested, I have 3 kits boxed and ready to go here, one of which is the slightly larger. This is 1:144 scale, the real grade kits are, but I have exactly this same kit in master grade at 1:100 scale, so that's one of the kits I have. So I'm less worried about making mistakes on this. I'd rather learn the mistakes here, and put the knowledge to use on the larger, more impressive kit. So let's see what we can do here. So the first part, let's do. Right, it's a bit of decision sort of across the board about what parts to line and what parts to leave, what sort of features to highlight with lining and what features not to. I'm using let's see if we can focus. Come on, you can do it. So I've highlighted some areas here, and the pen always spills out to a degree, so let it sit for a second just to sink into place, and then clean up the unsunken surface with a cotton bud. I've found that using one end to take off the worst of it, and then the cleaner end to then polish the surface afterwards, seems to work quite nicely, and then that results in some lining that then makes the features show quite nicely. I may go back and tidy up the surface a little bit more after the fact, but that's something I can come back to. I do have the mistake remover. This has what I believe is just isopropyl alcohol in here, but it's a it basically applies thinners for solvent for this particular ink, that allows you to remove it, and if I used that, it would just clean it straight back to white. It's very effective and very quick, so I'm not too worried about making major mistakes, because they are very definitely reversible. So let's do a couple more pieces here. That went a little bit further than I intended. So I get the sense that this is going to be quite a painstaking process, having done a little bit of it so far. It's certainly having, let's see if we can get it to focus, so just got a couple more highlights there. certainly having seen models that have been completely finished with panel lining, the final effect is incredibly striking. So I don't know if panel lining is something I'm going to do sort of consistently on stream. I think it may be a little bit more suited to an off stream and then show the stream and then show the results kind of situation, but we'll see how it goes. It's certainly suitable for what we're doing today, at any rate. So, as I mentioned, I have three builds ready to, 3 kits ready to be assembled. Apologies, this one is a little on the fiddly side. I have 3 kits ready to be assembled. The first I'm going to do is another real grade kit, so it's 144 scale, this size. It is, he says, looking at the box, it is the RX-93 the RX-93 V Gundam real grade kit. That one will be the first one we go for to go through the process of building. The second kit I have is the master grade 1-100 kit of version of this model, and then the third kit I have ready to go is the perfect grade 1-60 Strike Freedom Gundam, which is sitting in its very large box over off to my right. I have done a couple of perfect grades previously, which you can see on the shelf here. The Zeta Gundam and the Strike Rouge Gundam. I'll bring those down on a either later today or on a different stream to sort of show those off. But yes, so back to the lining here. I think, oh no, we do have more. So let's see how this cleans up. Oh yes, that actually came up a little bit better than I'd expected it to do, and almost as well as I'd hoped it might. Excellent. Right, is there any other lines on here that need doing? I guess that needs doing. Yeah. As I say, I apologise that this is all primarily sort of close-up tiny work here, but it does It is still something I can show off once the close-up work is finished. The problem I'm having is that I might see about seeing if I can tilt this top-down camera a little bit more towards me. It does mean that you might end up with a beard in the shot, but other than that, I think it might be a little bit. I'm not entirely certain how I'll go about doing that with the armature I've got. That is going to be a question for another day. So that is that piece finished. So we've got all of the sort of sunken parts of the plastic highlighted or low lighted. We've got darkened edges there, and that sort of, it just, I mean, we can actually do this. We have two identical parts, one worked on and one not. It really makes the detail of the plastic parts pop. So I think this will look incredibly good once it's finished. But as you've seen so far, it's a bit delicate, and it's a bit it can be a bit of a faff. So I'm going to I don't want to go too quickly at this, but I am going to go through this without stopping quite so many times on this second piece, and then you can see the finished result once it's done. I do apologise, I think I caught the microphone there. Gundam building is not the only thing I'm going to be doing on stream. I will occasionally stream games, but I think at least initially I'm going to be focusing on the Gunpla to get it for the moment, and certainly scheduled streams will focus on building Gunpla kits. I'm not going to do. I will do offline. Probably panel lining is going to be something I'll do offline for kits, but I'm going to be looking to do all of the builds completely on stream, not do any off stream building. So you'll be able to see the full process end to end on stream, and see what comes together at the end of it. What I'll do is, before I finish up this evening, I will open up the first box so you can get a feel for what's going to be involved. As I say, I will be doing some gaming streams as well, but they will be non-scheduled streams almost certainly. I am looking to stream Thursdays and Sundays, so Thursday evenings UK time, and Sunday afternoon UK time. Probably starting. This will be the regular Thursday slot. I will put all this on the stream schedule, but Thursday evenings UK time starting 7:30 probably as did this evening, and we're doing Sunday afternoon UK time starting 1 o'clock probably UK time. Give me time to have lunch before getting started. in addition, every other Monday will probably be a scheduled stream, and not this Monday coming. It'll be every other Monday after that, and again that will be Gunpla build, but there may then be non-scheduled streams on Saturdays, possibly Fridays as well, but we'll see how things go. Right, less talking, more drawing on plastic with an indelible pen. So if there's anything I'm doing that you want to see more of, any questions you have, feel free to ask. I can't promise to know the answers. As I say, this was the first kit I built, and that was only at Christmas, and I've built 2 more since then, and it's been very good fun, but I'm not going to claim to know all the answers on the topic of building Gunpla. It's still somewhat new to me, but I have been rather enjoying it. Also, once the weather warms up, I'm going to see if I can going to look at the logistical practicalities of trying to stream from the garage, because I do have a project car that needs building, needs finishing, getting on the road, getting through an MOT, and if I can get data and a camera out there, I might look at seeing if that's something that can be streamed, but I do not know how easy that's going to be. Unfortunately, the garage is not attached to the house, it's at the bottom of the garden, so I probably have to get a very long Ethernet cable to down to the bottom of the garden for that, and I don't know how easy that will be. So that's the second of these 2 pieces done, and hopefully, if we have a look at these, which way does it move to get it in the camera? Hopefully, yes. I have actually highlighted all the same bits on both pieces of the kit, which is good. I haven't missed anything. Right, moving on, I think we will stay with these pieces of skirt. Now this is, as with most pieces of this kit, these have a sort of transformed state, which shows off the translucent green underneath, and for convenience, this particular part, he says, trying very hard not to cause any damage while he does this, but this should, with a little encouragement, should just pop apart, which will allow me to do these pieces separately, which will be much easier. So let's start with the very definite bits that need doing. It's definitely First very slight touch up needed, but only very slight, thankfully. The where the, it's not going to be terribly visible here, but just along that top edge, sort of here along that edge where I've highlighted, is where this particular piece was attached to the sprue, and the join is not as glassy smooth as the rest of the surface, so the ink gets into that a little bit and just needed a touch more help being cleaned up. So we have also some lines here. Wow, this looks messy. Let's see if we can avoid, throw that on the floor. Right, let's see if we can clean this up a little bit more. Then this is, let's do that, and just along there. So let's see if we can show that. Come on, you can do it. So this has some more fine shading on it, which has just been a little touch highlighted here by the lines, and I think that's come out reasonably well. Let's give it a touch more of a clean up. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So moving on to the piece that came off. This has significantly more in the way of, you know what? I think we might just separate out the translucent green here so we don't end up drawing on it by accident, because that's something that's definitely on the cards here. And I would very much like to avoid doing. So we have let's do that. Stop there and do a little bit of cleanup. Stop using that cotton bud. That's getting a bit messy. And let's see how this this tidies up. This is certainly by far and away, I think, the most awkward part I've tried to do this to so far. Really doesn't like. It's got some very awkward indentations that are not coming cleanly clean the way I was hoping, but I think I'm pretty satisfied. I think these pieces here just need a touch more. No, just cleaning off what I put on there. Let's try not screwing up this time. I think we're going to have to do a little bit of repair work here. Got away from me somewhat, I think. Right, let's try that again. Right. I think that we leave that as it is now. So then we've got another sunken part here. Looks a little bit better. And anything else? Ooh. Apparently throwing it across the table is on the cards. How's that going to look once this is in place? It's going to yeah, I think those need a little bit of touch of highlighting here. We'll have that, and come on, you can do it. Get in there. That is a very deep crevice as far as these things go. I don't know how well that's going to come out looking. What am I using here? This is the clean one. Clean-ish one. I think we're going to have to line just across there for consistency. There we go. Let's just do a very slight clean there. That's more like it. Right, so what else have we got? We have a couple of surface lines here. Enough on that one, or rather I did get enough on and then I took it all off again. Let's try that. Okay, let's do that way and this way. And let's get a clean one. So I guess that's a line that could be highlighted. Not sure if it's well, it's done now. Right, so let's put this back together and see how it looks now that it's been, now that all the pieces have been touched. And as you can see, it again, it just pops that little bit more. Oddly, the camera is showing up the imperfections in what I've done a little bit more impressively than my eyes can see. The camera's making this look a lot bigger than it. There we go, and that's it with the panel open. So I'm pretty pleased with how that's come out. Let's see if we can do the same with the other side, except maybe do it with fewer mistakes. Let's just separate these parts. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And then separate off the translucent green, because that won't look anywhere near as nice if it has black pen all over it. And then let's do these pieces first. That. Right. Turns out the ones that have very deep indentations are actually more trouble for their extra definition than than places where it's shallower. It's a little bit easier to control what's going on with the shallower indentations, which is not really what I expected. Let's do this one and this one. Get those done, and that. Right, and let's it also doesn't help that these pieces are rather on the small side. So getting into some of these places, even with something as small as a cotton bud, is not as easy as one might expect. One thing I found when I moved from these 1 to 144 scale real grade was as I said, this is the first one I did, and one of the things I discovered moving to the second one I did was the perfect grade 1 to 60 Zeta Gundam. One thing I discovered was that despite being more complex with springs that can go ping fuck it and tiny little screws that can go missing and LED wiring and all sorts of things, the fact that it was just, 3 times as big actually just made it easier to handle because the parts were so much bigger. So I would, if anybody's getting into this, I would certainly recommend doing so if you enjoy model making. I have had an excellent time with these. But one thing I would say is don't be afraid to go and have a look at the more complex kits, because they really aren't as intimidating as they look. They're surprisingly forgiving. I think even the most. What bits did I highlight on this one? No, don't do 2 things at once. Finish what you're doing and then go and look. Even the most complicated kit I did, which was the Zeta Gundam, which was complicated to an additional level due to the transformation aspects of it, because it does. Okay, that was what we did on that. Because it does transform into aeroplane mode. What I would say is, even that was the second kit I did. It was, the instructions were very clear. Even though I was broadly speaking just working from the pictures. The only time where I had a brief moment of concern was during the wiring process, where it asked me to measure out an amount of wire, and it took me. I stared in lacking comprehension at the Japanese instructions for a bit before I saw that the length was actually written in Roman alphabet, so just regular old numerals, and panic was over. So it was. I really enjoyed that build, and it's quite a. I would say it's a touch over-engineered, perhaps, but that just made it a little bit more fun to build, I think. Right, so that is that. Hang on a minute. Did I do both there? No, I didn't. Okay, so that is exactly how I did the other one. Right, so the panel on the top. Let's look at this. So let's do the easy bits. The very clearly defined indentations. Again, might have to use just a touch of the solvent where the sprue was originally. There we go. Yes, that came up okay. And then let's do this and that. Right. I can just do with a very slight touch of the could have done with a even lighter touch of the right, no, we're going to have to use more than that because I've almost entirely removed what was there. So let's clean that off and start again. If you can all bear with me one moment. Right, so let's just clean this surface completely and start again. Once I have done this piece and have it back together with the other piece, going to pause for a break because we've been at this for an hour now. As I say, I think today will be a touch abbreviated stream-wise. I'm normally going to be trying to go for, I don't know, at least a couple of hours, possibly 3 of an evening, and a little bit longer than that on the weekends, because I can, once I'm doing this, I can just sink into it quite easily without noticing the time disappear away. So I think that's how things are going to go in the future. But for this evening, this was intended as more of a tech test and to just get a feel for how this was going to work, and I think it's doing all right, though I may look at the camera side a little. throw that around, why not? I may look at the camera side a little in the future before the next stream, see if I can get a better angle on what I'm doing when I actually have things physically in my hands. But I think that we can get this the right way around. Ooh. No, you stay there. You go on there. And I believe that, come on, you can do it, little camera. That is some nice highlighted panels. So that's 4 very small pieces of plastic that I've drawn on. It's 8:30, been at this for an hour, going to put this on pause and go for a break, and I'll be back in, I'm going to say 5 minutes, it might be, I'm going to say back at 22, gives me a bit of a chance for a bit of a stretch my legs. See you shortly. let's unmute the microphone and then let's get back to it. So we are, what's next up? Let's finish off the skirt. That seems to be as good a place as any to be working. These separate reasonably easily. I think we might, we might just, I don't know how easily this is going to come apart again. It's going to come apart fairly straightforwardly. So let's get started. This is, what have we got here surface wise? So these, sorry, let's show you the other one. So this is the rear skirting. It has a little, let's try and get an angle where you can see it. It has a little jet on it. Sorry, bear with me a second. So this is what these parts look like assembled. So I've just separated the white pieces off, so I can apply some colour to them. These look like they're going to be significantly more straightforward than the last parts that I was doing. So that, come on, all the way in. That looks good. And let's drop it on the floor. See, that's when it looks good, when it's just these little indentations that take the ink really well. That's the nice easy bits. There aren't enough of those. Right, what else have we got here? We have this piece in the corner. And we're just going to get ink everywhere there. Let's do well, that kind of came out well, but also kind of didn't. Let's see if we can just get that a little bit more. A little bit more something. Right, that's another corner done. What else have we got here that's indentation wise? We have a piece here. have another piece in the corner here. And then a stepped piece here. Not sure what the best way to tackle that is, but we will find out. That seems to have come out quite nicely. Okay. I keep talking and you're not seeing anything, which isn't helping, so let's just come out. So this is what I remembered something, you know. There's a light here, and the light makes a difference. So there's that, and there's the edge. The light's not entirely helpful, but it is a little bit helpful. So there's what we've achieved there. Let's turn that back off. Still got some more indentations on here that need doing. So we've got a little triangle there. I think we'll just sort that one out as it stands. Yep, that looks alright. What else have we got? We've got a line here. That just sort of follows all the way around the edge there. And it's actually deep enough. That's a bit of a challenge to get there. Even with this fine liner, which is quite fine, that was a little bit of a challenge to get the ink in there, but we got there in the end. I think that will let's try this again. We've got a little uneven there. Right, so this is, let's clean that off with an actually clean piece. Get the surface nice and white again. I think that's probably everything that's getting done on that one. Let's move on to the flap that goes on top of it. No, that can stay as it is. Let's go on to Butterfingers. Right, so let's have a look at this piece. Oh, this has some of those nice easy bits that I like. Several of them, in fact. That's what we like to see. Let's get those tidied up. So, things to look forward to on the stream. By next stream, I will have sorted out actually having some music on stream, because I suspect that the never-ending sound of my voice will get old rather quickly. So there will be musical accompaniment to the build in the future. Come on, you can clean off. No, don't. I said get clean, not get more ink on the surface. Let's do a little. Just a little tidy here. There we go. So yes, there will be musical accompaniment in the future, so that you're not just listening to the sound of my voice, as thrilling as I'm sure that is for all of you. And as I say, next time we will actually start building a model. Before we finish off here today, I will open the box up and you can see what the scale of what is going to be got into here. It's come out quite nicely, and that line there. All thumbs, it would appear. Off. Still all thumbs. There's a little patch here that needs doing. It's just first go over with that, and then a second go over with the slightly cleaner one. Right, let's put this back together and see how that looks. So that goes on there. This then clips on there like so, and what we have, he says, is a rather nice looking is a rather nicely lined piece, if I do say so myself, with its little jet effect. Certainly pops a little more than the other one does as it stands. So, speaking of which, let's move on to number 2. So we need to take that surface off and then persuade these parts to separate again. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Oh, come apart. There we go. Right. And let's go through what we did last time. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the, for want of a better term, easy ones. Just clean that up as well. Well, that's good news. Perseverance landing safely on Mars is definitely a positive thing. Let's just apply a touch of cleaner. It's always nice to have a little bit of positive news in one's day, and science being done is never a bad thing. Well, broadly speaking, science being done is never a bad thing. What did I do here? Okay. So, this is where we remind ourselves exactly what we did on the last one in an effort to make it identical. Okay, so we did that. And this. And that. Oh, and we've also got this little hollow. I'm just making a mess everywhere of this. Let's start cleaning that mess up. Ooh, yuck, yuck, yuck. Let's get, this is the clean one for whatever value of clean I'm using right now. Should have got another few of these out of the box while I was on break, but never mind. This is as clean enough as it stands. That worked quite nicely, didn't do anything there. So we are now down to these parts here. Right. And that's taken off a little bit too much there. Let's try that again. I've put a little bit too much back on there. Yeah, that time to get out the fix-it stick. Oh look, that became completely clean again. Imagine that. Right. Fix the collateral damage. Realign these areas. It's actually come out reasonably well this time, but it does need a touch more of the fix-it stick. Right. That's probably about as good as that's getting. And we have highlighted everything that we highlighted on the other one. So that's that bit done, which means we can refit that part, and then this was much easier. He says, cursing himself completely. Let's see how that goes. Let's do that with the clean bit. You know what? I am going to call that a win. Just clean that up a little bit more. Go, and that is finished. I think they've come out quite nicely. We'll treat those as victory. I am not at this stage going to refit those to the waist unit, because I think it'll be more useful to, well, we've got some pieces here on the waist that need lining, so let's do those. because actually then we probably could refit those to the waist unit, and that would, if nothing else, get them out of the way, which I strongly approve of. So let's do that. What else have we got here? How do I want to do this? That definitely needs doing. Let's clean these pieces up. First. Well, I wasn't entirely successful there. Let's do that. That's not bad. I guess. Yeah. There is actually enough room to get the fine liner tip down there, which I did not expect. But let us not complain about small mercies. Tidy this up. This may not be as easy to clean as I'd hoped, but we can get there. Yes, that came out better. Right. So, can we get into that gap? It appears we can. Get down in there just as the end, and I think that. And that leaves us, it's almost finished. Just a couple more. More pieces to do, and I think that has come out reasonably well. There's some deep lining in there at the top. Let's see if we can. This might just wash it out a little bit, but it yeah, I think that's come out quite nicely. So that can be refitted back on here like so. And what's next? So this small piece, how the heck is this fitted on? I may... Am I going to have to do that in place? No. No. We can get that off. Okay, so these two pieces go at the front in the same way that last piece went to the back. And these are, to be honest, very similar in what we're going to be highlighting, I think. It's a nice easy bit. That is that's pretty solid. Then we've got this. That went poorly. Took too much off there. Let's let that dry for a second, and let's do the other side first. Yes, that's better. Do nicely, so that can go back on there, and this piece has one nice easy bit, and two actually okay bits, I think. Let's see how these come out. So or we could just get the ink all over the places we didn't want the ink. That is an option that's available to us. By us, I mean me. Well, I did that to myself, and I did it with my own thumb. But I think the end result there is actually victory. So that's that. I think we can actually try refitting these. So these these snap into place on the ball joints. I have got them the right way round, which is good. Try and do this one where you can see it. Come on, there it is. So that just snaps into position. And then we do likewise on come on, there we go. Push it till it clicks. And the final piece. Why are you being difficult? I see. That's why you're being difficult. Come on, there we go. Right, so let's lay these down into position. It is indeed what she said. Let's lay these down into position, which I imagine isn't what she said. And I think that this now gives a pretty good indication of why this makes such a difference on the on how the model looks. And it's even better from a distance where you can't see the bits where it's not quite as neat as I'd like it to be. So there we go. That is the waist piece done. So I guess the next job would either be arms, torso, or legs, or shoulders, I guess. I think doing legs would probably be the best thing to do next in order to get things back into position. But what we're going to actually do now, as I say, today is going to be a little bit of an abbreviated stream, because this has mostly been intended as a tech test. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to refit the legs, he says. Getting the legs into position. Is that in place? I think it is. Okay, so refit the legs and then let's get those sort of straightened out to where they should be. I'm mostly putting this back together to save me losing bits of it, because that's just what I'm good at. So we will put these back in place. Let's put the shoulder pads back on. Come on. You can refit. You can do it. There we go. And then we can also re-engage the skull. As you can see, the lining on both the head and the head and those waist units has made a big difference into how that looks. But that is where I'm going to stop on the lining for today. Let's dispose of those because they are very much not usable anymore. And I'm going to move this out of the way. There. And we can have a look at this. Is what is going to be let's tilt that so the light isn't on it quite so badly. This is what we are going to be starting on for the next stream, which, unless anything drastically goes wrong in the meantime, will be Sunday. So here's the model. Let's have a look at what's inside the box. So inside the box we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 sprues, I think, to be going on with, plus a decal sheet. 13's a good number, obviously very lucky for us. And in addition we have, I apologise if that crinkling has been right by the microphone, which I suspect it has been, we have a set of instructions. So the first thing we will be doing, or the first thing I will do prior to the stream, is I will go through and make sure that we have all the bits as numbered here, and then we'll start building. We will apparently start with the feet and then the legs. That seems to be a theme of the more modern Gunplas that the more recently produced ones. Certainly the one we've just been working on, this one, the Stripe Rouge Perfect Grade, they've all been worked in the same way, sort of feet up, and yeah, feet, legs, then building the waist, then the chest, arms, the head, and then the weapons. That is, broadly speaking, how I've been expecting things to go. And then the backpack unit, thin funnels, and then you may have noticed on the one we've just been working on, I haven't put the stickers on yet. Part of that is because I wanted to get the panel lining done before I did so. Part of that is because I hate putting the stickers on. It's miserable, but we do it anyway. So, this is where we'll start on Sunday, I guess, with the RX-93 V Gundam. In the meantime, we've been here for 2 hours, and I'm sure that you whilst my voice is clearly very pleasant, watching me draw on pieces of plastic isn't going to have been that thrilling for you. So I will call it a night here. I think the technology side of this has gone reasonably well. Yes, I guess with the super deform kits, the start with the head because it's the biggest bit, and then you just sort of jam everything onto the big bit, and the smaller bits attaching to it, build it top down. Whereas it seems to go a little better the other way with the larger kits. So this has been pleasant but oddly stressful, and I will be back on Sunday to do some more of this, I guess. Though more clipping and building and sanding than drawing on plastic. Yeah, calling it a night. Thanks everybody.